What if a single practice could transform your mind, body, and energy from the inside out? Shambhavi Mahamudra isn't just another meditation technique. It's a powerful initiation passed down by Sadhguru, impacting thousands of people around the world. But there's something most people don't realize. This practice isn't a final destination. It's a gateway to an unimaginable potential. What happens next is entirely up to you. Shambhavi Mahamudra is not the end goal, it's an opening to something far greater. Imagine standing in front of a door, and as you step through, a whole new dimension unfolds. But this door doesn't take you to a fixed place. It simply reveals the vastness beyond. Many mistake the practice for the destination itself, when in reality, it's just the beginning. It's like receiving a map to an uncharted land. You get to decide where to go from there. Once this door opens, the real question is, what will you do with this opportunity? Some people feel an overwhelming sense of devotion, while others dive deep into meditation. Some simply celebrate the surge of energy they experience. There isn't one right way. What matters is that Shambhavi creates possibilities. Think of it as planting a rare seed. The soil is ready, the rain falls, but whether it flourishes depends on how you nurture its growth. The biggest mistake people make is assuming that stepping through the door means they've arrived. It's like thinking that reading a book about mountain climbing means you've actually climbed a mountain. Shambhavi prepares you for the real experience, but what happens next depends on your willingness to go beyond. Now, the next step is understanding where this journey can lead and how each person chooses to walk their own path. Once the door of Shambhavi Mahamudra opens, each person must decide what to do with this newfound possibility. Some feel called to devotion, surrendering fully to the experience. Others choose to deepen their meditation, seeking higher states of consciousness. And some simply embrace the flow, allowing the energy to move without resistance. None of these choices are wrong. The key is realizing that this practice doesn't impose a single path, but instead offers the freedom to explore. What's fascinating is that despite the different approaches, the core experience remains the same, a state of openness. It's like stepping into a massive spiritual festival. Some people sing and dance, others sit in silence, and some immerse themselves in the teachings. The event is the same, but each person absorbs it in their own unique way. The only mistake would be believing there's just one correct way to walk this path. However, this freedom also comes with a responsibility, making a conscious choice. If someone embarks on this journey without clarity, they might end up lost, like a traveler without a compass. The key is to dive deeper into what truly resonates with you. Now, among those who follow this path, some start to experience something extraordinary: brief moments of samadhi, where the mind completely dissolves. For some practitioners, Shambhavi Mahamudra isn't just a technique, it's an experience that can lead to glimpses of samadhi. This deep meditative state is like diving beyond the mind, where individual identity fades away and an indescribable expansion takes place. It can happen suddenly, in a moment of total surrender, or emerge gradually as the practice deepens. However, maintaining this experience isn't automatic. It requires discipline, presence, and a higher level of commitment. Imagine someone learning to surf and, for a brief moment, catching the perfect wave. The feeling is transcendent, but without dedication, that moment will remain just a memory. The same goes for samadhi. You might touch it briefly, but sustaining it requires making the practice a natural part of your life. It's not enough to have a glimpse and assume you've reached the top of the mountain. You have to keep climbing, refining your perception, and surrendering even further. This journey demands more than just mechanical discipline. It's not about mindlessly repeating a technique like a robot. It's about building a genuine connection with the practice. To do that, you must understand that Shambhavi isn't an instant enlightenment switch. It's a foundational preparation. Just like soil must be fertile before a flower can bloom, your mind and body must be prepared for something much greater. Shambhavi Mahamudra isn't a promise of instant enlightenment, but a method to cultivate your inner foundation. Think of your mind and body as soil. If it's dry and lifeless, no seed will grow. But if it's nurtured, watered, and properly cared for, transformation will naturally unfold. This practice works the same way. It aligns your energy so that deeper changes can take root over time. A common mistake is believing that simply repeating the technique will lead to a grand revelation. But Shambhavi isn't some magical shortcut. It's a process that strengthens the foundation. It's like training a muscle before lifting heavy weights. Without that preparation, any attempt to go beyond will be frustrating. Through consistent practice, you develop mental and energetic resilience, allowing you to sustain higher states of consciousness when you reach them. The difference between someone who simply practices the technique and someone who truly transforms is in their level of surrender. If a practitioner treats Shambhavi as a routine without real engagement, their growth will be limited. But if they approach it as an opportunity to prepare the body and mind for something greater, then the journey becomes a living process. And when that happens, something shifts. Those conditioned patterns that once seemed unbreakable start to dissolve. With consistent practice of Shambhavi Mahamudra, deeply rooted mental and energetic patterns start to unravel. Imagine someone who, for years, has automatically reacted to stress with anxiety or anger. Over time, this response becomes almost inevitable, like an uncontrollable reflex. But through regular Shambhavi practice, this compulsion loses its grip. The person is no longer a slave to their own reactions. There's now a space between stimulus and response. This weakening of conditioned patterns creates a kind of freedom that few ever experience. It's like suddenly realizing you've always had control of the steering wheel, but you spent your entire life thinking the car was driving itself. The mind, once trapped in habits and unconscious patterns, becomes more flexible. Impulsive reactions fade, and a new clarity emerges, allowing life to be handled with more awareness and balance. But this doesn't happen overnight. Just like a tightly knotted rope doesn't come undone with a single pull, these patterns take time to dissolve. With each practice, you feel a little more of this inner freedom. And as this process deepens, something even more profound is revealed. The energetic support from the initiation continues to be present, helping to sustain this transformation. From the moment of initiation, those who practice Shambhavi Mahamudra are never truly alone in their journey. There is an ongoing energetic support that doesn't rely on physical proximity to a master or in-person meetings. This support works like a flame burning inside the practitioner, even if they're not aware of it all the time. The energy is there, fueling their growth. This explains why some people notice shifts in how they experience life, even if they don't fully understand the process. Imagine someone who, without any logical explanation, realizes their mind is clearer, their reactions are more balanced, and their body responds more effortlessly. This isn't a coincidence, it's a reflection of the initiation's energy still working within them. The connection established through the practice doesn't fade over time, as long as the practitioner keeps deepening their involvement and remains open to receiving. The more engaged they are, the stronger this support can be felt. This support, however, shouldn't be mistaken for dependence. It's not a system where the practitioner constantly needs external reinforcements to keep moving forward. On the contrary, it's an investment of vital energy that acts as a silent guide, always present. But this process isn't the same for everyone. Each initiation is unique, shaped by the individual's needs and level of readiness. The initiation into Shambhavi Mahamudra isn't just a set of technical instructions, it's a direct investment of vital energy. Each practitioner receives this boost in a unique way, depending on their level of readiness and openness. For some, the shift is subtle, like an almost imperceptible adjustment in how they perceive life. For others, it's an immediate impact, like flipping a switch, bringing clarity and a heightened sensitivity to the world around them. The mistake many make is expecting a standardized experience, assuming the initiation will work the same way for everyone. But that would be like expecting a plant and a tree to grow at the same speed, just because they were given the same water. Each person absorbs this energy differently, depending on their inner state. What truly matters isn't the initial intensity of the experience, but the commitment to staying engaged in the practice. That's why initiation isn't a one-time event, it's an ongoing process. Even if the effects aren't obvious right away, something fundamental has already started shifting. This is why Sadhguru emphasizes large-scale initiations to ensure that this impact reaches as many people as possible, even if the results take time to fully manifest. Shambhavi Mahamudra isn't just a practice, it's a key to unlocking a whole new level of existence. So, what will you do with this opportunity? Will you treat it like just another routine, or will you use it as a tool for real transformation? The answer is in your hands. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and continue this journey of learning